All right. Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you all for joining me for today's webinar on Quick Stats. The goal of today's webinar is to check out the stats tab of Quick Search and to use that same process to pull up all of the sales that you guys have done for the year or whatever time frame and find the statistics on those. It's a quick and easy way to do so. After that, we'll head over to mainlistings.com, get into the private side, and we'll check out the main listing stats for you guys to check out your agent production for the year. So let's just get started. And to do so, we're going to get into a quick search. So the first thing is just showing you guys the stats tab. So I'm not going to go crazy here with the criteria or anything. But let's choose active, let's choose pending and closed listings. A year back is fine, right? For the off-market dates, 366 days. I'm not concerned about that. We will pick on a county, though. Let's do Kennebec County. That's a lot, but we will stick with it. Why not? I might show some good stuff. So just to reiterate what I'm looking at here, right? I'm running a residential quick search for active, pending, and closed listings with the pending and a close date within the last year, just for Kennebec County. We have a good amount of results. So let's check out the stats tab now. So above the map, probably you guys will come over to like list or detail typically to actually view the specifics of your search results. But I'm going to click on the stats tab here. Might take a second because I have a lot. Oh, actually, it was quick. So this is a great place to come to if you're just wanting to search, say, Kennebec County, closed listings. You want to know kind of what the average, the median of the important data points are, like DOM, sold to list price ratio. This is a great place to go for that. So just to start off reading the page here, on the left-hand side, we should be familiar, but that is our results panel. So that is the list of all 1,833 results. In the middle here is where the actual quick stats, or just stats, but the stats are for these 1,800 or so listings. So the first set of data points they give you is just organizing the listings by status. So of our search, we can see here almost 1,500 of them were closed. So that's what the blueberry pie represents. And then we have pending. 70 of the listings in our results were in the pending status or have a pending date, probably still pending, have a pending date within the last year. And then the rest, about 264, are in the active status. So it just breaks that out for you as a nice visual way to see kind of what the breakdown of the listings you have are here. The real meat and potatoes of this page, though, is the average, median, low, and high statistics that we're checking out right now. So it will tell you how many of the listings it's using in the calculation. So oddly enough, we have 1,833, but we're only using 1,832 of those listings to determine, right, like the average, median, low, high for like the bedrooms, the baths, the square footage, which means one of these listings in this set of results might be a little funky and it's not being included for one reason or another. All right. So we're moving along here. So we can see like median number of bedrooms for our list of results is 3. I think more importantly, maybe you want to check out like the median square footage. 1,500 is the median square footage of homes that are either active right now or in the pending status or closed within the last year in the Kennebec County. So at least kind of in the median range, things are still pretty standard sized homes there. We can see the original list price was $319 is the median, and $307,553 was the median list price. So of course, we're grabbing the middle of the number. So this doesn't necessarily mean it's the same listing, but it kind of gives us an idea that maybe people are doing price reductions throughout the year. And we can actually see that a little later on. So we're going to keep going, right? The median sold price is just 300,000 again. So maybe things are even closing for less than they're listed at. And they're listed for even less than they were originally listed at. Kind of the trend I see going on here, but that's also true of like the average, for example, right? List price per square foot, the sold price per square foot, a little different. Sold to list price ratio. So for the median, right, they got right on the money. Sold to original list ratio, a little less, 1.5% less. Median DOM, 17. And the median price change is negative $20,000. So definitely price reductions going on. Even the average is stating such. So good little chunk. Also, you may notice, right, like sold price, for example, using $14.99. So no tomfoolery going on with the sold price. It's obviously just utilizing the sold listings to calculate these things. All right, and we can continue scrolling to the last chart here, which is days on market to the sold list ratios by market time. So kind of the same pie graph here. 66% of the listings in our results, right, had a DOM of less than 30, between 0 and 30 days. So that's that 0 to 30 day window is still definitely where most listings fall under, 2/3. And we can also see here like the totals, right? Same thing that's played out on the graph. Average sold price to list price. It's actually looking pretty good. So what this is telling me, on average, the average home is selling for about 0.5%, which isn't a lot, but maybe 0.6, is selling for about 0.6 more than its list price. And on average, right, it's selling for pretty much the same amount as the original list price was. So kind of what this is telling me is that things are being listed pretty relatively well for the market. Maybe there's some price reductions going on to incentivize offers coming in. And then those offers are kind of bumping up, almost maybe like back to what the list price was. So I don't know what that indicates, but that's kind of what the numbers say to me. I don't know if I'm way off with that. Up to you guys to determine what that really means for your market. And we have that classic fall that people are so scared of seeing. And I love having it actually kind of like laid out here. So when you have your days on market, you can see as the days on market increases, you are getting less and less. It kind of evens out a little bit here once you get past the 90-day mark, but you can see that the average sale price to list price is going down the longer your listing stays on the market. On average, right? So you can see if we're just looking at, sold price to list price, for example, right? You can see from 0 to 30 days, you're actually getting more than it was listed at, or at least what the current list price was before it sold. But if you're in the 31 to 60 day range, you're looking at 3.5% less your sold price would be than your list price, and so on and so on. And it kind of like evens out around, kind of once you get past like the 60 to 90 days, things kind of level back out. But definitely the 0 to 30 and then the 31 to 60 always has a pretty big drop, right? If we're looking at from original list price, that's 8% difference, which is pretty crazy. And if you wanted to just pick and choose on this left-hand side here, you don't want to look at all 1,800 listings. Maybe I'm just going to click the first 5, but maybe you found 5 really good listings that you just want the stats on those for. You can click on those, come over to selected. Now it's giving you the stats just based on the listings you have selected. And if you want to switch back, simple enough, just go to results. And now it's going to readjust to include all your results again. So that's a quick overview of the stats tab. Let's edit our search because now I want to show you guys how you can run a quick search to find your sold listings. And then you can pull the stats, the same stats as those for your own listings. So you can kind of tell a story with them, right? So I want to kind of reset this a little bit. I'm not going to refresh or anything. But if you're looking for your own sales, something to take note of is they might not have all been residential. If you know they were, great, stick to the residential template. but maybe you sold a land listing or multi or commercial during the year. If you want to make sure that those listings are in your list of results, you want to make sure you're doing a 7- cross property search. So a 7- cross property is including the residential database, land database, multi, and commercial databases. So you're getting all 4 databases in one search, which can be very helpful for something like this. Not so much helpful if your client is looking for multiple property types. I still, even in that moment, suggest having 2 searches. Let's just say they're looking for a single family and a multi. I wouldn't do cross property. I would do a search for a single and a search for a multi. But kind of up to you guys. I just like having them separated a little better. That's my opinion. But we're moving on. That's not what we're talking about today. So up in the property type, right? Residential, land, multi, commercial. So if we didn't want commercial, whoops, but we wanted the other 3, we could do that, right? But I'm going to stick to them all. Not that it really matters for my example. I am going to choose closed. Whoops, just closed. Right now, the date range is set to 366 days back. That's not how I want this run, right? That's not giving me my 2024 totals, just because we're already a week into January. So we're going to be missing the first week of January of last year if we run a search like this. So what I actually want to do is click the black arrows between close date and that 366. And that's going to set us up with the relative date range. I don't know what that blue circle is doing. Why is that there? There we go. Okay, it fixed itself. That's going to set us up with the relative date range option. So if you're looking for results within a specific time frame, definitely do the relative search. I'm sorry, I'm saying this backwards. Definitely do the date-to-date search. This is going to give you that static set range of dates to use. So I want to do 01/01/2024 to 12/31/2024. So this is giving me that full 2024 year. When it's asking you for like the specific number of days as it was before, that is what the relative date range is. I apologize. And that's going to move with you. So that could be really beneficial. That type of search would be really beneficial if you want to keep track of maybe like the closed sales in a specific set of towns or counties that the hot sheet might not be doing for you, but you want it to change every day. You want it to update. So that's when you'd use relative date range so that the 366 days back is ever moving with you. So you can look at that set of search results and know it's going to be a different set of results. Whereas this kind of like just standard date range, you're going to see the same list of results every single time you run the search. So hopefully that made sense, what the differences are, kind of like the pros and cons. So now we can move on. The last thing we want to look at is the listing/selling member field. I don't think a lot of people really utilize this. And I mean, typically, why would you, right? You definitely should not be basing your searches and stuff and what kind of listings or properties you're interacting with based on who the listing and selling member is. That would make no sense. You wouldn't do that. So I will pick on somebody. I don't know what their results are going to look like, but I always pick on Julie Sleeper. So shout out if she happens to listen to this. Another thing I'm going to do, actually, let me talk through that. I typed in her last name. You should type in your last name or your MLS ID number. Find yourself on the list and select. Over on the right side here, I always check off co-list for both sides. Even if you're sure you weren't a co-list on either side, check them off anyway. Just in case there's one that slipped through the cracks for you that you don't remember, or you didn't even realize you were put as a co on one side or the other, you still should find that listing. Now, I have 0 results, so that's not good. Let me see if I can pick on, I don't really want to pick on somebody else. All right, I know what to do. I know what to do. Let's pick on Timothy. Sorry, Tim. I need your results. All right. So we can see it updated. We have 86 results now. And again, this is just all 4 property types, closed status for the whole 2024. that had a listing, a co-list, a sell, or co-sell of Timothy Dunham. So we can go to the list, right? If you just want to see a list of your results, right? You can come over here and you can just get a straight up list of all of the sales you had done that year. But more importantly, we're looking at stats, right? And I'm not going to go too deep into this because we already know what it is, but just now you can see we're just looking at Tim Dunham's stats for the year. So this can be really helpful for you as an agent to run this and get that average, median, low, and high stats, find some data points from it that make you look good, and use it to advertise yourself. For example, I don't want to like pick on Tim or anything, but it seems like he does pretty well, right? Relative to the chart we had seen earlier, if I'd taken a snapshot, his sold price to list price ratio seems to always be a bit higher than what the kind of like average was in Kennebec, at least. So in that regard, he could say, hey, for my market area, whatever his is, he might have a higher SP to LP ratio than the average, which means he's better than the average agent. Use that as a selling point, right? Sorry, Tim, didn't mean to pick on you. All right, and that's what I have to say about that. So that's the quick search to find stats on a specific market if you want to look into it, and also using the same quick search technique to find stats on your listings. I'm going to reset to the dashboard now, because with the last few minutes here, I want to check out the private side of Maine Listings so you guys know how to find your agent production. I'm not going to be able to really show you numbers or anything because I'm not an agent and it is tied to the account you're logged into. Anyway, for me, I think the easiest way to get to Maine Listings from the dashboard is just to click our logo in the message board. But you can always open a new tab and type in mainlistings.com. All right, so we get to mainlistings.com. To get to the private side, you want to scroll down to the bottom under the copyright section and click member login. If it doesn't know you're already logged in, right? I had logged out. It's going to ask you to log in with your Flex info. Bing, bang, boom. It may land you here on your dashboard. We don't have a lot of use for the dashboard anymore. We've really like moved this over to the member portal. But the referrals you get from the Maine Listings website, or I shouldn't say referrals, sorry, the leads you get from the Maine Listings website do live here. I don't know how poppin' that kind of function is, but if you are curious, ask your DB. I think by default, the DB gets set up with those leads and then can kind of distribute them as they go. But there is some customization that can be had in the settings here. Again, I'm not sure how popular that is, but give it question your DB if you have any thoughts on it. I'm going to click the Maine Listings logo again. That's going to bypass our dashboard, log us into the website. So I know this is the private side because my name and my face is up here in the top right, letting me know I'm logged in. Then what I want to do is go to statistics and stat reports. We have this nice little landing page here with one option, so why have it? But I should cut that too. And I'm going to have a much different, not much different, but I have a lot more options. I can see all of the reports that we have depending on your authority or like level of access. So most people are agents with agent input, meaning you can only add and edit your own listings. That translates here too. So if you're agent only input, you are only going to see the agent production comparison, and then the statistical reports. Your DB can turn on the market share for you by going to their member portal, end user management report, clicking on your name and hitting the little checkbox. That will give you access to market share reports if you want them. Sometimes your DB wants to just make sure they're running it essentially for you, and then we'll provide the stats. So ask them what they think about it. But from here, right, you would click agent production. It's, I believe, end date is always going to be today's date, and we'll go back to the beginning of the year. So if you're running this now, you will just need to adjust these, 1/1/24 to 12/31/24. And then you would click run report, and this is going to give you a nice list of all of the sales you had been on. So it should be the same list as the quick search we did too. So it's also a good way to compare to make sure that nothing is missing, is running the quick search in Flex to get your numbers, and then coming over here, running the same date range and seeing if they align. They should. They should align. They typically do. But that is quickly how you get into the agent production stats. All right. And with that, I'm going to reset to Flex because those were the three things I wanted to touch on today. So I want to thank you all for joining me. If you have any questions after the webinar ends, feel free to call me 780-1366 or send us an email to help@mainlistings.com. I want to thank you guys again. Have a great day.